call the regular City Commission meeting of Tuesday, November 18th, 2014 to order. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Initiatives, I think it's wonderful for our city. I think it means a great deal for our parks and certainly to maintain our libraries and then to lower our water bills a little bit while adding a little more money to stabilize our general fund. So it was wonderful to see the turnout. The lowest was the parks at 67%, so it was a really good election, and I really do thank all of you who came out to vote, whichever way you went. We didn't beat Huntington Woods. That's I challenged Huntington Woods, and we lost by a percentage point. So I'm still going to call for a recount. There is a problem with the registered voter list, but we'll get into that later. I didn't know if anybody else wanted to say anything before we move on. Okay. Our first item is public discussion. Items not on the agenda.
Watch yourself, Ted. Hi, Jay McCulkey, 110 Elm Park. I came tonight to share some information with you about the Pleasant Ridge Garden Club. In some regards, we're the best kept secret in the city, and it's too bad because there are approximately 50 members at this time, and it's a club that's been organized here in the city for a number of years. And I wanted to share some of our projects in the city, and I know this time is really for city information, but the Garden Club relates to our city. And then I'm going to offer you an invitation and an opportunity, and I won't say that you can't refuse, but I hope you won't, at any rate. Part of the Garden Club's purpose, over and above education, is public landscape, is public community property. And we, for years, as a club, have been maintaining the park at Memorial Park. We buy the flowers, the plantings there. We put them in, we maintain them, and then at the end of the year, we take them out and we put in more things. Next year, you're going to see well over 100 bulbs that'll be blooming out there. And we do that prior to Memorial Day. And then across the street, also on the Greenbelt, you'll notice that Stevenson Park has some new trees that went in just over a year ago, and they're flowering crab, and it's part of the beautification of the city. Now, we did that working with the city as to what would be appropriate, finding a person to do the design. We purchased the trees, we had them put in at club expense, and we're maintaining them. And we're happy to do that because, again, it's our community and it benefits all of us. The wildflower garden behind us is another example, and school children even come here, and if you're interested in native plants, it's a good place to check it out. So look at the wildflower garden. And across Woodward is the Blue Star Memorial, which is a memorial to the veterans. And that's a national project of garden clubs. And I know that when you enter West Virginia, for instance, right at the Welcome Center, they have a Blue Star Memorial because it really is a coup for our community, as small as it is, to have our own memorial and recognition. Now, we do that by earning money. And this is the part where I'd like to involve all of you in that opportunity. We have two fundraisers coming up this month. And the first one is the Greens Workshop. And if you're handy, or even if you're not, but you feel a creative urge, the Greens Workshop is going to be held on the 10th of December. The fee is $25, and for that you get a kit in order to make a holiday decoration. It's of greens, and it often is a centerpiece, and has been wreaths and things, and I won't give away the secret for this one. But there also are wonderful appetizers, wonderful desserts, and it's a terrific evening to meet friends and to just have a good time. And so I'm encouraging you to attend that on December the 5th, or the Friday, the December 5th is the end of the reservations. But excuse me, unaccustomed to public speaking. December 10th is the night of the Greens Workshop. Now there's another activity which is newer. And I think everybody feels that once you're a part of Pleasant Ridge, once you've lived here, you're always a Ridger. And Home for the Holidays is really capitalizing on that. One home in the community is open for an evening, and catered food is provided, drink, wine and beer, and just a lovely evening. And people in the community, residents, actually volunteer to have their home open to 100 strangers, or at least their neighbors. Hopefully they're not all strangers. It's a delightful evening, and I have found in the years that I've attended that present residents attend, but also people who have grown up in the community will come back. It's really coming home for the holidays. And that evening is going to be December the 13th. And this year, the Lenkos have opened up their home for this event, and we'll be able to tour the house. And let's be honest, every one of us walks through Pleasant Ridge and sees a house we like and think, wouldn't it be fun to see that house? Wouldn't I love to have a party in that house? And that's kind of what we're doing. We're all sharing one residence home in order to have a good time and to welcome in the holidays with our neighbors, our friends, former residents and present residents. Now the price is $100 a ticket, but that's how the Garden Club is able to do the things we do in the community. Any profit from that, the board has voted, and for the last few years, any profit from this evening goes directly into beautification in our city. And so we're very proud of what we do. It takes quite a bit of money. We know that there will be opportunities now with the park, Gainsborough Park. We have other plans to do some brickwork in Stevenson, and we're interested in lighting some of the parks. Those are all things we've talked about. So I hope to see you, and I happen to have things for the workshop, and I have a couple of invitations for Home for the Holidays. So thank you. I appreciate all of the time. Thanks a lot.
Jane, a quick question.
Yes,
What
sir.
time does the workshop start on the
The
10th?
workshop starts at 6:30, and Home for the Holidays starts at 6:30.
Okay, thank you.
And it'd be nice if you came to both of them, Brett. Bring a friend.
Right.
Excuse me.
Well, good evening, Mayor, Commission. I'm Ted Zachary from 68 Devonshire, and I went to the Garden Club meeting too, and it was very interesting. It was a speaker about bees, and that was very enlightening for me, because our group that I represent, the Environmental Committee, is on that same kind of line, bee line. I just slipped out, I just had to say it. I wanted, as you know, I like to have a visual aid. So this is my visual aid today. As you know, you probably guessed, this month has America Recycles Day. That was the 15th of November. And because it's America Recycles Day, SACRA makes arrangements so that you could get these bins for not the usual price of $12. It's slashed. It's a big markdown. It's slashed to $6. So you could get this bin for $6, help out the environment, help out the bees. And it's only for the month of November. So this is your chance. If you're looking for a Christmas gift for all the wrappings and stuff like that, or any kind of, this truly is an eye-opener. Okay, this is just curiosity. 2 years ago, the recycling amounts for September were 24 tons. This year, it's still 24 tons. And I know that we could do a lot better. A lot of money is basically missed because we don't recycle a lot. Maybe next time I talk, I could tell you the amount of money that we're losing per year if we don't recycle 100%. So our group is still in its infancy, so we're still working on the environmental committee. And thank you very much. About the bins, you could call City Hall if you're not, if you're working full time and you can't get to City Hall. You could just give them a telephone call and say, I'd like to buy a bin for $6, and they'll help you, and they could deliver it no charge for the delivery. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Rob? No?
Oh, me.
Oh.
Fairwood Robbie, Fairwood, hello. So first, I just want to say thank you to the Women's Club. They put on one heck of a lasagna dinner. That was good stuff. I took home a pan. I just had some more tonight.
All right.
It was a good time. So for anyone that missed out, I'm curious, I know in the past we've talked about having programs to help those at home that can't take care of their sidewalks and stuff during the winter. Do we have a program in place we can tell people about or not? Or anywhere to contact if people need help this winter?
Sounding.
No,
I can answer that.
Yeah.
Rob, in the past, we've tried to have people call into the community center, and then we create a list on the computer of people that would either be willing to help or need help. And we still have that list. It seemed that the people that needed help was larger than the list of the people that could help. And it, anytime that we seem to try to match somebody up, it wasn't
Okay.
as successful as we had hoped. So I know it's one of the things that especially Commissioner Krzyjak had talked about in the past of trying to get like a volunteer type thing in place. So I mean, it is something that we can work on, and a lot of times up on our bulletin board up there is like some kids that are shoveling snow for.
Okay. So if we want to
for-
volunteer, we contact the community.
Yeah, you just call us and we'll put you on the list, and then if somebody calls us, we can try to get them
Cool beans.
hooked up.
That's it for me.
Thank you.
Is that it? All right. Next item is consideration of governmental reports. I know we've got the fire chief, we've got the public schools. What else? Who wants? I guess the schools run first.
Hello. It's nice to see you all. I see you have your Ferndale Eagles water bottle, Mr. Foreman, which it is delicious.
Congratulations on your victory. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited to serve the community for another 6 years. So I had a really nice list that I left on my desk of all the things that I wanted to tell you. I think I've got most of them here, and I'm sure that you guys will have questions as well. I think probably the most exciting thing that just came out last night in our board meeting is that we will be starting up a Montessori program in our schools. We're working with Ferndale Montessori, which is a very popular preschool, and typical preschool Montessori program goes for 3 years, so it goes through kindergarten. So then often parents who would like to go that route have a hard time then placing their child into a program because it's first grade and a lot of schools start in kindergarten. So what we are going to do is start a first grade Montessori program, and we'll be working with Ferndale Montessori, with other Montessoris like I think Harmony and other things like that in the area, to make sure that it is a seamless transition from the one to the other and that we adhere to all the Montessori principles. And we're hoping to be able to better serve our community by doing that. We have a lot of people that are leaving our district to go to Montessori schools in other districts because we don't provide that here. So that's pretty exciting. And on that same vein, well, no, not really, because that Montessori was, we're not doing the preschool Montessori because we're leaving that to the preschool Montessoris that are already established. But we are increasing our preschool population over at Harding. We've opened up another Great Starts program, which is for low income, different qualifications to get in there. So we have an 18 child class that will be starting up. So if you have any questions, please call Harding and probably ask to talk to Dina Roshlow. November 20th, which is this Thursday, we have middle school choir and elementary school orchestra. It's always a really cool program. It's free, it's a lot of fun, especially if you have younger kids who are thinking about getting involved in the instruments, and then you get to see kids that are a little bit older. It's kind of a thrill. And another Ferndale Friends of Different Learners will be having their first meeting on the November 25th at 6:30 at Harding. Okay, so that's kind of like my quick list of stuff that's happening in the next 2 weeks. Of course, there's a million things happening in the next few months, but that was what I could think of off my head sitting on the thing there. Do you guys have any questions right now?
Thank you for mentioning the Montessori development. It was pretty exciting hearing that last night, and I was hoping you'd touch on that. I knew you'd touch on that, but thank you for explaining it. Very
Yes.
good. It's a great new program.
It's really, it's a huge, it's been a big gap, I think, for us, our school system, and so I'm really thrilled. Yeah. All right, anything else?
Thanks.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Chief.
Mr. Mayor, Commission, cold air is set upon us. Just a few reminders. If you haven't noticed, if you haven't had your furnace checked or cleaned or maintained, it's a good idea. If you're using space heaters, make sure they have safety devices on the bottom. If they're tipped over by anybody, a cat, a dog, it automatically shuts off. If not, they should be plugged into a GFIC, so that stops it from causing any other issues. And then fireplace is one of PR residents' favorite things, need to be maintained as well as checked and cleaned. Last year we did have a fairly substantial fireplace fire in the community. It went through the wall and started a room upstairs on fire, so it is important to have someone inspect that and make sure the inside of the flue and all that is clear and intact and doesn't need replacement. Nowadays they can line them with new metal liners, so it doesn't cost you a bundle to re-brick it and you don't see any external changes in it, so it's a thing to do. The other thing is when the snow hits, if it does, shoveling snow outside, a lot of people think heart attacks and that in the middle age to elderly is caused by exertion, and it is not. It is caused by breathing in the cold air and not warming it before it hits your lungs, and the stress on your system from the exertion and the body trying to warm the cold air is what creates the situation. So it can actually target younger populations too. So even if you're just out jogging or walking, you really should have something across your face to help warm that air before it gets down into your lungs.
Good advice.
Yep, safe holiday too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see no other governmental reports. All right. We're moving on to consideration of City Commission liaison reports. We'll start with Commissioner Scott and the Historical Commission.
Thank you. First, wanted to remind everyone that the Historical Commission meets the first Wednesday of nearly every month. So if you'd like to attend the meeting, please feel free to do so. It's an interesting discussion. It's actually a lot of things that are getting talked about, and so I welcome everyone to come to the meetings. Commissioner Foreman attended for me in the meeting this month. I was out of town, so he took some notes for me, and I appreciate his effort. First item is on the event that they held last month. They had a great turnout of 435 people. A couple of those might have been overcounted, but it was over 400 people that attended and netted $700, so worked out really good for the Historical Commission. And then the next event is on January 15th. It's actually their speaker series around the 696, the birth of 696 essentially. And it was scheduled to get away from the holidays so that everyone could sort of get back into the normal scheme of things and attend the meeting. But one thing they're looking for are stories from people that were here before 696 went in and could describe for everyone what 696 meant to them as it came to existence. And it's I think it opened December 14th, 1989, and a lot of residents here might remember what it was like right as it opened. The buildings, the homes that used to be around it, and might have a story of their own to tell. So if you have any stories or photos or video, aerial footage, or anything that you'd like to share for the event, feel free to contact me. You can send me an email. I'll get it to the Historical Commission, and we'll include it as part of the event. And of course, everyone is invited to attend the event on January 15th. That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Krzyjak, Recreation.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Docket here. I just do want to give thanks to everyone who came out to the Thanksgiving Artist Market this past weekend. We had over 270 in attendance. We had over 30 vendors, both Friday and Saturday. It was well attended, and there was much good artwork and much on display from local artisans. I want to give special notice to Sue Turpak. She is the subcommittee chair for the Thanksgiving Artist Market. Is something that she works on all year, raising awareness of the event, but also collecting the artists and really planning this event. She suffered a personal tragedy earlier in the week that took her out of the state, but before she left, she spent hours and hours in her own kitchen preparing the food that was provided for Friday night, and I just want to make sure that everyone knows that she was determined to make sure that this was a great event even in her absence. So I just wanted to highlight that, and thank you to all the other volunteers who helped, the Recreation Committee, and of course Scott and Bridget Brown really pulled off another great event. So thank you to all involved, and if you know of any artists, local artists, who you may think would like to be considered for next year's event, please contact Scott or Sue Turpak directly. So, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Foreman, Committee Liaison.
Yes, I have a few things. I'd like to start with something I mentioned at our meeting last month. It's the Just for Kicks event that took place in Ferndale at the Loving Touch. That was this November 8th. It's an event that raised about $2,000 to be used for camp scholarships for students at John F. Kennedy Elementary. The camp is part of the Open program, and it's an important part because it's part of the outdoor education aspect. So the money went for a good cause, and it was a lot of fun that night. A lot of good acts, mostly musical, but one or two really funny ones. Some inappropriate. Kids weren't really allowed, but that made it a little bit more interesting. Next, I'd like to say a few things about communication technologies in the school district. The first one being the Ferndale Schools website. It's been completely rebuilt from the ground up and relaunched. The intent is to make information both more relevant and easier to find, and also the staff members now have the ability to update this information instead of just a certain IT person. So the information should be more current and more dynamic and easily changed. The other thing is that the site continues to be improved on a daily basis pretty much. This is what it looks like now. You see there's a rotating carousel of images. There's a small version of the calendar here that you can click on to see an expanded view of it. And also the news in the center. You can see the eBlast archive right there in the center. There's a whole different menu system up on top. It's very easily navigated. You can find different aspects of the website. I found the information quite easy to find, where before I had a lot of trouble when I would try to get my information for these reports and from other aspects. But I think it's worlds better than it was, and it's a good thing. The URL is ferndaleschools.org. That has not changed. Obviously, the content has, and it's for the better. Next, I would mention the district has recently rolled out a completely new email system, which, as some of us know, it can be very frustrating to deal with a very old, outdated email system, and an upgrade can make a huge difference in productivity. So I think that's really been a good upgrade that they've recently completed as part of their new partnership with Oakland Schools. Finally, on the subject of websites, I'd like to mention another one. The FEF, or the Ferndale Education Foundation, has a Facebook page. They're looking to reach 700 likes. They're now at 500 likes, or just under 500. So their target is to get to 700. If you wonder what the FEF is, they're a group that is led by mostly parents, and they're trying to raise money for special projects that the teachers need grants for that maybe the school wouldn't normally fund. One of these projects was a cooking cart that a kindergarten teacher requested a grant for. I think it was 2 years ago. He got the cart, and now he's able to instruct his kindergarten students on fractions through measurements, measuring ingredients, making recipes and things. This is what the page looks like. You can see it's hovering right around 500 likes, 499. We can help. We can get that number a little bit higher.
I want to be number 500.
We can help. We'll track that out.
Too late.
Right now, right now.
What is it? Ferndale, what is it?
It's fine.
Ferndale Education Foundation.
No, I didn't.
Lots of good content on this page. One thing I'll mention is there are t-shirts for sale right now, $10, short sleeve t-shirt. You can help FEF raise money for their great cause. So you can search for it on Facebook, or you can just enter the URL, facebook.com/Ferndale Education Foundation. And please give them a like if you haven't already, and we can help them reach their goal. Finally, I'll end my report with something you may not expect to hear about. It's salmon. Why salmon? Well, thanks to the support of the DNR and key partners, one of them being the FEF, another being a PR resident, David Asamani, who owns the aquarium shop in Royal Oak. The schools now have a new program. Well, actually, last year it started. This is the second year. But it's sponsored by the DNR, and the 6th grade students and teachers will be participating in this. It's called Salmon in the Classroom, or SIC. One of 200 classrooms in the state. This is the second year, again, that they will participate. It's a year-long natural resources education program. There's an entire curriculum to guide the participants throughout the year, but in short, teachers receive the tiny orange fertilized eggs in the fall. The eggs are hatched out, the fry are fed, and through the spring. In May, the students then release the salmon into a local river. So to quote Natalie Elkins, a DNR education specialist who oversees the program, Salmon in the Classroom teaches students about everything from the life history of fish to the importance of the Great Lakes and fishing to Michigan's traditions and way of life. Students get invested in and excited about their local rivers and streams, knowing that the smolts they will release will return to the very same spot in 2 to 3 years. That connection encourages long-standing appreciation of Michigan's natural resources and ecosystem health. So Salmon in the Classroom. That is my report for this month.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Perry, Planning and DDA.
So the DDA and Planning Commission met on October 27th. The Planning Commission held public hearings regarding accessory dwelling units and dimensional zoning ordinance amendments and additions to the city code. The Planning Commission has some further questions on accessory dwelling units and will continue their discussions in the November meeting. They have moved the dimensional zoning ordinance issues forward to the City Commission, and we will be considering setting up a public hearing for the December Commission meeting in tonight's consent agenda. And then detailed information on these zoning issues and is in the backup materials for tonight's meeting, and you can access that on the city website or through City Hall. The next Planning Commission and DDA meeting will be this Monday, November 24th at 7 p.m. here at City Hall. And that's all I have. Thank you,
That's it.
Mayor.
Thank you. Anything else from anybody? All right. The next item on the agenda is consideration of the 2014 Beautification Awards. Jay?
Yes.
Foreman, you're up.
We have a presentation we'd like to go through, and some awards to present. Hey, would you like to join me? So we have a presentation up on, I'm not going to say the screen, but on the wall there. You can see a handy little graphic which we'll have more explanation on in a moment here. So just a little background on the PR Beautification Committee. We're an informal group of residents. Our mission is to recognize neighbors whose homes enhance the beauty of our city. This could be improvements they've made on their own. This could be improvements they've paid to have someone make. It really doesn't make any difference to us as long as their home is beautiful and they maintain it. That's what we're looking to recognize here tonight, are those resident neighbors who've really worked very hard to do that and keep our neighborhood beautiful. So our commission, or our committee rather, is made up of representatives from the City Commission, Planning Commission, DDA, Historical Commission, Recreation Commission, also one member of the Garden Club, as well as 2 other residents at large. One who is a past member of this committee from 2010 and before, and another who has had decades of experience with beautification elements of the city of Grosse Pointe Woods. Okay, next slide. I'm sorry. Here we go. I think it just needed a second. So this group has given out awards for many years. However, they took a break after 2010. So it's been a few years. We thought the time was right to kind of reinvigorate or reanimate this. process and just start recognizing residents again, because we've had a lot of great improvements, a lot of work done, and homes are selling well lately. They're selling quite frequently. So we thought it was a good time to bring this back. So, quick few words about the selection process. We first divided the city into 4 zones, and I have on there 4+1. The +1 is basically an optional category, and that's a business. If we feel this particular year there's a business that deserves an award, has made significant improvements to the city in that amount of time, then we would exercise that and recognize one. And this year we will have a business. So we started by every member going throughout the city, every street, every house. We looked at every single one, and we noted which ones we thought should be nominated for this. So we picked 1 per zone, and we'll see that little thumbnail expanded in the next slide. So then we tallied up the results of all the homes that were nominated, and we generated a list. Any duplicates were removed. And finally we went out again, and we looked at every single house on the list. We looked at it more closely, and we tried to come up with a revised net list. Sorry. So at that point, we re-reviewed everything, and then each member, there are 7 of us, we submitted our 4 final nominations. In the end, we got together with all the collective nominations, and we decided how to narrow down that list to 4, 1 per zone. Now I'll hand it over to Dave to talk about the zone map.
You can see that the zones are pretty self-explanatory. We tried to make the zones so that the densities were taken into consideration, so that we weren't doing it by geographic area, but rather by how many houses were in each zone. And this just seemed to make sense logically for everybody involved. So I don't think I really need to explain anymore, but everybody looked at every zone, every house in every zone, and as Jay said, then we just whittled it down through a series of meetings and correspondences. So.
And the black dots on the map are the selections for this year, which we'll see very shortly. And the first date.
25 Woodside Park. This is Chuck Kellett's house, and we like we've got some notes that were prepared by a couple of the members. Raised bed, foundation plantings with 2 tiers of hedges, front path lined with pink shrubs, roses and psyllium, 2 decorative trellises bearing climbing roses on the side of the porch, and attractive evergreen border along the neighbor's driveway. And Chuck also did a big, all the siding was done in the last few years, and the general consensus among the committee was that this house is just always maintained very well over a very long period of time, and so we felt it was deserving of the award this year.
Chuck is also a past member of this group. The next one on the list for tonight is 36 Oakland Park. Basically, this house has more of a challenge because it's on a corner. Not more of a challenge than any particular one, I'm just saying it has extra challenge because it's on a corner. So they have to maintain 2 sides of their home. The things that we thought stood out about the house is it really has an outstanding 270 degrees of beautifully maintained yard on this corner of Ridge Road at Oakland Park. They cleaned up a neglected home with fresh paint, rebuilt deck, playhouse, and decorative concrete and brick driveway. The new landscaping includes dozens of ornamental grasses and hydrangeas that will provide year-round interest, as well as sections of boxwood hedges, arbor vitae, and small trees along Ridge Road. This house actually stands out from the rest in one way, is that it has a celebrity endorsement. And that's in the form of Baby, the resident PR deer, who has spent significant amounts of time enjoying the grasses and other greenery that the Stokes have planted.
So 66 Kensington. We found this house to be very interesting just because of the different layers of shingles that were on the house, as well as the fact that there wasn't a garage but a side garden. It looks somewhat out of place because it looks so nice because there's no garage and really no driveway, so it kind of grabs your attention, and we did like that quite a bit. A lot of the landscaping is year-round. We noted there were a variety of heights and textures and leaf shapes, plus splashes of red annuals and flaming Japanese maples add a lot of interest. A lot of variegated euonymus ends at the front, walk porch steps, and the greenery extends to the Boston ferns and possum trail and ivy on the porch. So this house really did stand out when we kind of looked at it, and I believe multiple people picked this house. So
Yep.
congratulations to you on that.
And the next and final home for this year is 40 Sylvan. We felt this house made the best of a small front lawn area that gets very little sun. They use potted geraniums with trailing greenery on the porch to add spark and color and lead the eye to the thoughtfully planned rock garden filled with an interesting variety of sedum and planted grasses. There's a classic subtle color palette accented with soft white trim and attractive porch railing and stained wood fascia that matches a beautiful door and inviting porch benches complete with colorful cushions. They've updated the look with geometric touches including cube house numbers and large rectangular column bases. And finally, the drive is lined with a neat row of arbor vitae. So we felt that this house really stood out for many of those reasons, and it's just all in all a very buttoned up, clean home. That's 40 Sylvan.
And our, the last award that we did was, everybody knows where Cork is. As Jay said earlier, we have the option to add a business or something in our DDA that differentiates itself. Cork was empty for a long time. It was purchased. The inside was renovated, subsequently sold to the owners of Cork, who've done a wonderful job with it. And they recently installed an outdoor patio. Everybody likes how the signs are very tasteful. It's very clean on the outside. It's kept up very well, and it's a real asset to the city. We like how the outdoor seating looks, and it will probably look better even next year when the plantings can sit all summer. And they've just done a really nice job of taking something that was just kind of plain and existed to something that really stands out for the city, and we felt that deserved an award. So.
So tokens of our appreciation, something that we'll be presenting tonight first is a handmade ceramic tile. I noted there that that's not the actual size of the tile, because that would probably require people to carry it. It's actually about a 4-inch diameter tile. So I can, actually if we could turn the lights on, looks like this. And it can be hung on the wall or presented in a frame or matting.
Sweet.
So, the next part of the appreciation or the thanks, I would say, is a certificate, and that's something that we don't have here tonight. And that's because we would like to take photos in the spring when the vegetation is at its fullest. We kind of got this process started a bit late this year when we started deciding to kick it off. So by the time we got to this point where we had selected the homes, the leaves had started to fall already, and a lot of the flowers were no longer blooming, and things didn't really look their best. So we'd like to take those photos in the spring. We have a resident who's very talented at this, who's done it for a presentation you might remember from a year ago, the Historical Commission 100-Year Home presentation. Mr. Jim Zupan will be taking those photos for us in the spring. And then in following years, we'll hopefully get this started sooner where we can take them and give them at this very meeting. So along with the certificate will come a photo of the home, that's why I mentioned that. And that'll come again in the spring, we'll follow back up. But tonight we will be presenting those tiles. So once again, these are our awardees for this year. We have 4 homes, 1 business, and we'd like to now ask all of the residents or business owners to stand, and we give them a round of applause, and then they can go up and get their tile. So first we have Chuck Kellett. He's on Woodside Park. Chuck, thank you so much for all of your hard work.
Okay, thank you. Stokes, Sean and Barb Stokes. 36.
Next, Mr. John Ayer. Finally, Jessica Warlow. She's on 47. I'm not sure if we have any representatives from Cork here tonight, so we can drop this by to them. So thank you all for your attention tonight. It was a pleasure participating in this process. We had a really good time, and we really love looking at everyone's homes. Thank you.
Nice work, Jay.
Very good. And here I thought everybody was here just to see us. Yeah, that's right. We got to give out more awards, right? We got to save awards to the end of the program. So, what are you gonna do?
Do we have an award for maybe residents who stay?
We may have
I have
to,
one tile
we may
left.
have to institute that. I should get it. Okay. The next item on the agenda is consideration of the following consent agenda, and I just want to say it's long, and so if you want to relax, I'm going to read these. I could just let them go, but I decided to read them. First is consideration of the minutes of the regular city commission meeting held Tuesday, October 14th, 2014. Second is consideration of the monthly disbursement report. The third is the appointment of city manager James Bruckman as the city representative and city clerk Amy Dreeland as alternate to the Intergovernmental Cable Communications Authority, term to expire November 10th, 2015. Appointment of Mayor Kurt Metzger, Commissioner Ann Perry, and City Manager James Bruckman as the city's representatives to the Fire Protection Agreement Committee, term to expire November 10th, 2015. Appointment of City Manager James Bruckman as delegate and Assistant City Manager Scott Peterzak as an alternate to the Southeastern Oakland County Resource Recovery Authority, or SACRA, Board of Trustees. Appointment of Assistant City Manager Scott Peterzak as delegate and City Manager James Bruckman as alternate to the Southeastern Oakland County Water Authority, SACWA, Board of Trustees. Appointment of Mayor Kurt Metzger as delegate and City Manager James Bruckman as alternate to the annual meeting of the Michigan Municipal League to be held in October 2015. Appointment of Mayor Kurt Metzger as the city's delegate representative and City Manager James Bruckman as the city's alternate representative to the General Assembly Board of the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, or SEMCOG. Establishing a public hearing on Tuesday, December 9th, 2014 at 7:30 p.m. to solicit public comments on the it's cold out there. On the proposed Oakland County Community Development Block Grant Program Year 2015 Community Application and Subrecipient Agreement. Establishing a public hearing on Tuesday, December 9th, 2014 at 7:30 p.m. to solicit public comments on an ordinance to amend Chapters 26 of the Pleasant Ridge City Code, zoning, Article 4-R-1A, R-1B, R-1C, and R-1D, single-family residential districts, yard and bulk requirements table. Article 5-R2, everybody's very familiar with these, family residential districts, multiple family residential districts, low-rise yard and bulk requirements table. Article 7, RO restrictive office yard and bulk requirements tables. Article 12, general provisions, section 26.1.12.1 yard and bulk requirements to add a new section 26.12.4 sky plane side yard setback requirements.
I think you missed one in there.
I did, but just take it. I got lost on one line. And finally, a resolution regarding the city's compliance with PA 152. Obviously, the public hearings are very important, so we look forward to seeing you next month. But also, this is kind of this was my first duty as becoming mayor, was to read this long list last year at this time. So I felt I had to do it again. So with that, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Your Honor, I move that the consent agenda, as so beautifully read by yourself, be approved as recommended.
Is there support? Probably not.
I second.
May we take a vote?
Yes. Commissioner Foreman?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Mayor Metzger?
Yes, consent agenda is approved. The next item is consideration of the proposed amendment to the Intergovernmental CATV agreement. Jim?
Thank you. So what is proposed before you is an amendment to a 30-year-old multi-governmental entity. The ICCA was formed, I don't know, sometime in the 80s. I wasn't around when that happened, but it was formed to basically oversee cable TV providers in the community. This was back when the onus really kind of fell on each city to regulate right-of-way, to regulate cable providers. All of that has since been taken over by the state. However, the ICCA as an organization still exists. Back when each community had to fend for itself, having 11 fairly sizable jurisdictions was a good way to aggregate our combined kind of power to, take on the behemoth that is cable TV, I guess. For 30 years, the ICCA has operated based on some grant funding that it received when it was initially formed. They've never had to charge fees to the member communities until now, when their resources are dwindling. The agreement provided for a distribution of costs based on the 1980 census, proportionate to each community. That's a little out of date at this time. So what's before you is a proposed amendment to that agreement to establish a new funding mechanism, and basically it's $1,000 flat fee for every community, plus a population-based element as well. So fees range from us on the low end around $1,100 up to Rochester Hills and Troy are paying somewhere in the $5,500 range for their membership fee. So the current plan is to conduct another audit of signal strength and also the cable company's books to make sure that they're paying us all the fees that they should be, that are owed to us in the member communities. So the proposed amendment language is in your packets, and the ICCA has a meeting tomorrow, and they're very much hoping that all of the communities have passed this by then. So,
Okay, perfect timing. Is there a motion to approve the amendment?
Mayor, I move that amendment to the Intergovernmental CATV Agreement, Section 6, Responsibility of Members, Subparagraph F, Payments to Authority, between the City of Pleasant Ridge and the ICCA be approved.
Is there support?
Second.
May we have a vote?
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Foreman,
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Mayor Metzger.
Yes, motion carries. The next item is consideration of applicants for the City of Huntington Woods Library Board. Did you want to?
we have an opening on the board, and we solicited applications and received 4 interested applications. One of whom didn't meet our charter requirements. We've kept her application on file, and we'll consider her for future openings. But we had 3 very good applicants who the commission has reviewed, and with that, I would turn it over to you.
Okay. Is there a motion to appoint a new liaison?
Your Honor, I move that Mari Vadik be appointed as one of the city's representatives to the City of Huntington Woods Library Board, term to expire November 10th, 2015, as recommended.
Is there support?
Support.
May we take vote?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like some discussion real quick. Just like to make a couple of comments and thank all 3 applicants who came out tonight to meet with us in our workshop. It was really appreciated the time that was spent with us, and I hope it wasn't a stressful situation. I hope we were comfortable to deal with. We tried to make it as laid back as possible, so thank you so much for your time and coming out and applying and just really spending the time.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Also, and I hope, with other positions in the future, you all will consider applying, because it was, it was a really difficult decision, because you were all just such outstanding, perfect candidates for this really interesting position. Thanks.
Anything else? May we take a vote?
Commissioner Kuziak,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Foreman,
Yes.
Mayor Metzger.
Yes, motion carries. Congratulations. Okay, the next item is consideration of establishing a public hearing on Tuesday, December 9th, 2014 at 7:30 p.m. on an ordinance to amend Section 2 of the Pleasant Ridge City Code, Administration, Division 9, I-696 Segregated Capital Asset Fund, commonly called SCAF. Jim?
Yes, this is something that we have discussed previously. There's an opportunity based on a clause in state law to reclassify a portion of SCAF. in a way that would allow us to invest it in a broader basket of investments. Currently, it's invested in a very limited set of instruments, money markets, short-term debt that is returning about 0.7% right now. And that's been the case for the past few years. By creating a recreation special revenue fund within SCAF, and SCAF itself is classified as a special revenue fund already, per the auditor's book of, whatever it is. But this would be basically classifying a portion of that as a Parks and Recreation special revenue fund, and then we could invest it according to the pension fund rules, which opens up a much wider range of investments that have a higher return. So we can protect protect and grow the principal to keep up with inflation over time, and also return more money to the city. So basically better use an existing asset that we have. So the proposed ordinance amendment and some updates to the city's investment policy to handle the different ways that we can invest this are included in the information packets that are available on the website if anyone would like to review them prior to the public hearing occurring on this next month. I'd be happy to answer any questions on this if anyone has any. But.
Any questions? Is there a motion to establish a public hearing?
Mayor, I move that a public hearing to solicit comments on the proposed ordinance to amend Section 2, Administration of the Pleasant Ridge City Code, Division 9, I-696 Segregated Capital Asset Fund, be established on Tuesday, December 9th, 2014 at 7:30 p.m.
Is there support?
I support.
May we take a vote?
Commissioner Foreman,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Krzyjak,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Mayor Metzger.
Yes, motion carries. We move on to the city manager's report.
Thank you. Okay. Our police chief is currently snowed in the Upper Peninsula, so he wasn't here to provide an update during the governmental reports earlier. But we had 2 millages that passed, and again, thank you to everybody. That is much appreciated. But we also had the charter amendment, which established marijuana-related crimes as the lowest law enforcement priority. So since police chief wasn't here to tell us what that means, I'll try to tell you what it means, and it means not much. We already have very, very few marijuana-related law enforcement actions, and we certainly do not have a marijuana enforcement task force or anything of the like that is making that a high law enforcement priority. We have had calls from a number of people who wanted to open up medical marijuana dispensaries in the city since that amendment passed, and I had to explain that that's not what that means. That's not what that charter amendment meant. Nothing really changed from November 3rd to November 4th with that election. It was really just a statement that the voters were able to make, and that the group that got that charter amendment placed on our ballot can now have in their back pocket, as I'm sure they eventually advocate for changes at the state level on this. So that's what that means. With the approval of the millages, one of the key things was looking at utility bills and lowering those as an offset to some of the increased property taxes. So I think it's a good time to give an update for kind of what happens now. The millages were approved, so what happens next? Well, what happens is everything takes effect next July 1st, when the new budget year starts. The City Commission will adopt a new water billing rate ordinance and a budget that will go into effect on July 1st. So the next few months, you're not going to see any changes in your water bills or utility bills. That will happen next summer. What we are going to do is we're going to start to lay the groundwork for next year's budget and next year's water and utility bills. So we'll be opening up the hood on the utility billing and looking at all options for how we do that. Right now we have a purely rate-based system, so everything is paid for on a rate. So if you use a little bit of water or a lot of water, you're paying based on that rate. And this is sort of akin to buying a car, but then paying for everything that has to do with that car through gas. You know, you go to the gas station, it'd be like if you're paying a car payment and your insurance. and the gasoline that you put in your car, all based on that price of gas, because the car and the insurance, those payments are fixed costs that you have to pay no matter what. If you buy that car and put it in the garage, you have to make those payments if you don't drive a single mile. And our water system is the same way. We have pipes in the ground, and we have maintenance that we have to do, and we have reports to the DEQ that we have to generate every year based on owning a water system. And we're going to have those expenses no matter what. If you don't turn your tap on, we have to be able to provide water and take it away from your house if you choose to. So the pipes and all that other stuff is kind of like your car and your car payment and the insurance. You're going to have those expenses no matter how much water you use. So we'll probably be looking at some different ways of setting up the water bill with maybe a flat fee that covers some of those fixed charges, and then a lower rate for the actual water you use, so that the bills are more reflective of the true costs of owning and operating a water system, and also the true costs of the water that you use when you open up the tap. And now that we're potentially moving in that direction, we'll work up some options and scenarios. We'll run them by the commission. We'll probably have a public workshop to go through what that would look like and what it would mean to our residents in terms of cost. The good news is right now, with the millage passing and shifting some of those costs, every resident will be able to pay lower water bills no matter what happens. That will happen. And of course, the garbage flat fee that right now is $43 and change a quarter, that will be going down probably by about half. We'll have to do that math as well, but that's a pretty good estimate. We'll be starting the capital improvement planning process immediately here. That is a plan for capital improvements that the city makes over the coming years. And those feed right into the budgets. It's a 6-year plan, so we plan out kind of what we have major projects coming over the next 6 years and start to sequence those for when they happen, so that those can slide into the budget as we move forward. Of course, that's reviewed every year, so the farther out you get, the less certain it becomes, but at least to put on the radar all of those things that we need to start purchasing, like police cars, which we have not for a while, to kind of get on a regular rotation to make sure we have good equipment. Since the last city commission meeting a month ago, our police cars have been in the shop 5 times. So it's getting a bit dire and a bit dicey with our police cars. And then the budget process, that'll begin in February and March. That'll be easy once we get all these other steps done. FEMA, you can still apply for assistance with FEMA if you had flooding from the August 11th storm. The deadline is November 24th, so we're approaching on
They just
the ending
extended
date.
it.
They did.
2 more weeks after that.
Okay.
So
Well.
now it's into December.
Never mind. December something.
Just heard that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well-
2 weeks after the 24th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. You can go to disasterassistance.gov and apply online. We have heard stories, and we have heard FEMA representatives and SBA, Small Business Administration representatives, tell us that if you get denied on the first time, apply again, and you might get money. We've had that happen to some of our residents. So just keep trying. It's the federal government. You never know. The latest update we have from FEMA is 73 residents have applied. And there's been $67,135.80 of direct FEMA grants awarded to Pleasant Ridge households. So we have seen some direct benefit to our households here. That does not include loans, which are available from the SBA. Small Business Administration gives loans to homeowners when disasters strike. So if you're looking to reconstruct recreational improvements in your basement, or anything else that was damaged that you'd like to replace, they do have very low interest loans that are 30-year terms. So, it's like free money kind of. Leaf collection continues, please. November 23rd, this Sunday, is the last day that you should be putting leaves out at the curb. If you put them out after that, we cannot promise they will be picked up. There will be leaf collection that occurs next week. Every street in the city will be hit one more time after this coming Sunday, but that could happen Monday, it could happen Wednesday, so don't wait. You'll recall we installed LED lighting at the community center 2 months ago, and since then our monthly electricity bills are $540 less over the 2 months than they were a year ago. So the cost of that improvement was $3,800, and so far we've saved $530. There's a seasonal adjustment because it gets dark earlier, so the lights are on longer. So we'll be saving more for the coming months, and then in the summertime we'll save less because the lights are on less long. But at this rate, we'll have this improvement paid for in probably anywhere from 14 to 16 months, and then we'll just be saving money every month. So we're very, very happy with how that has turned out. It's been a very successful first kind of dipping our toe in the water of LED lighting in the city, and we'll certainly be doing more based on these early returns. And we have the toddler structure. If you've been out to Gainsborough Park, you'll see some construction fencing and some very colorful, yep, there it is, right up on the wall. Some very colorful play equipment coming out of the ground. All credit, again, to the Pleasant Ridge Foundation for generously donating the funds to make this a reality, and of course to Scott and the Recreation Commission for working over the summer to pick the equipment and get this improvement done. So I think with the card access system at the shelter, which we will over the winter be going live with residents being able to get their access cards for that. And this, I think, spring is going to be very good for toddlers in Pleasant Ridge next year.
They just delivered the surface pallets of it yesterday, so they think there's going to be a warm day next week where they'll be able to actually put it in. That's what they have on their radar. So
all right,
should hope to have it all finished.
Everyone,
ready to go.
pray for a thaw to your deity of choice.
We need to be over 40 for about 6 hours and they can get it down. So.
That's all I have for this month. Oh, one more thing. We do have the East Side Town Hall. And we say it's an East Side Town Hall because the purpose is to discuss a potential permit parking program that we would make available to the streets on the east side of Woodward in that first block between Woodward and Indiana. These are the streets that sort of deal with business overflow parking to varying degrees on the different streets. And so we have an idea for a permit parking program that might work. We're still in the beginning stages, so we wanted to have a town hall meeting to introduce our idea, get feedback on it before we really move any further, make any concrete steps. So that will be this Thursday at the community center at 6:30. The permit parking is really the only thing we have on the agenda, but being a town hall, if anyone has anything else they'd like to discuss, they're more than welcome. I'm anticipating we'll have some questions about leaves probably, but it's just that time of year. So obviously anyone is welcome to attend, of course, but really the issue pertains to the east side residents. So we mailed out invitations to everyone on the east side of town. And when there's an issue on the west side, we'll have one for over here as well, but we'll take that as it comes. So thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to it. Are there any other questions, comments from either here or the audience? Yes.
I would just like to piggyback Jim's comments about the Leafs and assure all the residents that everybody up here and on City Hall staff and Brylar are committed to continually improving the process. I know there's been some questions about timing of pickup and the equipment, but I want to assure everyone that everyone is giving their best, and we're going to examine ways we can improve and things we can do and better. But Brylar has been doing a good job. The staff at City Hall has been fielding calls from residents, and I want to thank them for that vital link between the residents and the city. But I also want to take time to acknowledge the guys out there doing the leaf pickup. I mean, I've driven by them several times, and this is not easy work. The leaves are monstrous on some streets, and I just want to let them know that we appreciate the job they're doing, and like I said, we are committed to improving the process, but everyone's doing the best they can. So that's all I wanted to say.
I just wanted to add too, I think we've mentioned it before and I don't want to belabor this, but last week we had a charrette. Jim had worked closely with the Woodward Avenue Action Association, WA3, and we had hit by Bob Gibbs, who's a well-known planner and developer, and several people from out of town, experts, come in and spend basically 3.5 days, I think.
Yeah, this was their fact-finding expedition.
Right.
So Yes, they were in town for, well, they were on site for 3.5 days. Yeah.
And it was mainly, I was to look at from Oakland Park up to Lincoln, but really with talking about the intersection that we've had. And as was said on the last day, they identified somewhere close to 200 different problems just in that area. And they're going to come back in February, late February, March with some ideas, and then we're going to also have bring the public in later on. But to talk about what are some short-term options that we have to make this area a little more pedestrian friendly, be it sidewalks, curb cuts, narrower lanes, a number of things. And one of the issues that it struck me, I think it was yesterday, we have, if you ever drive Washington to try to connect to Woodward, you have those 3 lanes that cut across Woodward, and people kind of try to figure out, are they turning onto Woodward? Are they going under the overpass by the zoo? Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, the day before, I saw 3 cars that smashed into each other. So it looked like one from each lane decided that they weren't in the right lane. And so one of the options we had talked about is cut it down to 2 lanes so that you have much better for pedestrians to cross, and also just it'll make it easier for people to understand where the heck they're going. So it was, I've got a picture of it, so I'm going to send it to the charrette folks. But it was a wonderful opportunity. I think it's going to provide some real great solutions for this area.
And I would add just on that, what happened this past week really was fact finding. This is a road focused planning process. So the universe of available alternatives is quite limited. We have to operate within traffic engineering, and we have to have MDOT approve it, and all of these other things. So a normal charrette, we have lots of public input right off the bat, but in this case, we wanted the professionals, and we have nationally renowned transportation engineers who really focus on pedestrian and bike, priority on streets, in addition to accommodating cars. They were coming in to do their field work, and then they're going to go back and come up with feasible alternatives, because we all have to live within the strictures of the standard standards and strictures of the road building profession. So that's going to happen in February. They're going to come back with a number of alternatives, and at that point we'll have open to all residents and all public. I know there's interest in making this place in Woodward and 696 better. So stay tuned for what should be a very interesting workshop in February, where they will present different alternatives, and we can provide our feedback for kind of what looks good and what we like at that point. And then they'll take that and they'll synthesize everything into kind of a final what their recommendation is. So stay tuned. That's going to be fun to see what they come back with.
It was a great opportunity for Pleasant Ridge, and
Yes.
thanks for getting it organized. And we had so many plans where Pleasant Ridge just kind of was this empty space. So it was nice to kind of try to fill it in. So.
Right. And it's really neat to see what happens when you have MDOT in the Detroit Zoo, and these different entities that don't talk to each other all the time, and you get them in the same room, and all of a sudden connections are made, and so we've got some interesting things that came out of that week that hopefully bear some fruit. So we'll be talking about that a lot more.
It's very interesting to have participated because in all of the surveys that we run from the city, our ability to walk and bike our community on both sides of the community is really important to residents. And yet we're saddled with one of the worst intersections in southeastern Michigan at 696 and Woodward to manage, with 3 levels and hard to get to the zoo and across from the east and west side. And they were very knowledgeable about surveying the area and taking in all of the input of the things that we've discussed over the years. So I expect that we'll see a lot of interesting things. One key point that they brought up is that counterintuitive to what people might think is that in slowing down traffic, you actually improve flow of traffic. And that's one of the things I expect you'll probably see in their results when they come back in February. And we don't control the speed on Woodward Avenue. In fact, if we tried, it would probably go up instead of down. So they're going to probably propose a lot of intermediate measures to control flow of traffic so that pedestrian and bike traffic is well managed in Pleasant Ridge. And Huntington Woods has some issues around the zoo that will probably be managed in their proposals as well.
Yes, we learned that you can get more cars through at 30 miles an hour than you can at 50. So,
and the number of fatalities
Yes.
drops
Yeah.
dramatically between 25 and 35 miles per hour.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Is there a tree lighting event this year?
December 1st at 6 o'clock. We will have the tree lighting. Santa Claus will be in attendance. Pictures, lots of cocoa and other coffee. Animals? I don't know.
Animals,
No
yes.
no cannon.
We may have a
but we
deer
will have-
cameo.
Oh, dear.
Oh,
Yes,
Maybe not.
we didn't mention that. Be here on December 1st for that. Is there anything else?
Mayor, and I think Rob had brought up earlier the wonderful community dinner that the Women's Club put on last Friday, and it raised over $2,000, and we'll be able to benefit at least 4 scholarship winners from students.
That's
Great.
wonderful.
And so thank you all for coming out. That community dinner really is a unique and wonderful event for Pleasant Ridge, and the Women's Club did an outstanding job.
And I think the resale shop made, what, $1,100 on
Yes.
Saturday? Something like that?
To benefit the foundation.
So
Yeah.
everything is going well. Okay. Yes, what?
I have an update regarding the Pleasant Ridge Club, or Pleasant Ridge Social Club. There's an event on December 6th, Saturday, 7 p.m. It's at the Detroit Yacht Club. If you're not aware of the Pleasant Ridge Club, you haven't heard of it, you're not a member of it, you can find out more on their Facebook page. Just search for Pleasant Ridge Social Club. But basically this is a group that's existed for I think over 100 years now. And now they're conducting a membership drive looking for any PR, residents, neighbors, looking to have fun in a social setting with their neighbors. The events are always a really good time. They range from being at a restaurant to something like the Detroit Yacht Club to someone's backyard. We've been a member since we moved here. We've always enjoyed the events, and one I particularly liked was a casino night, but I have a penchant for casino nights. The auction is another good one. But yeah, it's a good group, and like I said, they're looking for more members. Anyone that's interested in just having a good time with neighbors, look them up on Facebook. That's it for me.
And one last thing. I hope everyone has their phone number magnets on their refrigerator. Things have gone very well. I think the transition over to the new phone system was pretty seamless. We haven't had any hiccups. For anyone watching who didn't check their mail or didn't get the mail, we have a new phone system at City Hall, and we have new phone numbers. The police are now the 2900. City Hall is 2901, and then the community center is 2902. So it's all 3 in a row. Should be easy to remember. And now we can actually transfer calls. So I can transfer a call to Scott just by hitting a 3-digit extension.
Nice.
Technology is great, and it's going to save us around $10,000 a year. So we're happy with that so far.
That's a winner.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, one last thing to follow up on from last month. Remember last
You
month?
thought you were out of here.
Last month we talked about a fall play, and I told you I'd let you know how it was.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't let you know how it was because I missed it. I planned on talking about it during this meeting, which should have taken place last week, but then the meeting got pushed back, and we missed it. It was Alice in Wonderland. I hear it was excellent. But I'll tell you, the spring play is Wizard of Oz, just so you know. That's it.
And you will tell us about it.
I will for sure.
Okay. I wonder if they'll make it to the city. All right. Before anybody else has anything, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.